Good morning, students. So, in the last class, we have completed the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. So, today we'll be starting the new chapter, which is very important for the medical students. Okay, not only medical students, other students also it is important. But if you want to opt a medical profession, so for that contest, this chapter is very helpful for you. Okay. So this the name of this topic is human reproduction. Human reproduction. Human reproduction. So we all know all human beings. Okay, all human beings are sexually reproducing organisms. Okay, and the all human beings give birth to young ones, that is viviparous. They are sexually reproducing organisms. Sexually reproducing organisms and they are viviparous. Okay, viviparous means giving birth to young ones. Okay, so here in this chapter we will be studying about the male reproductive part and female reproductive part, as well as the process of reproduction, how the process takes place, how the reproduction takes place, what are the reproductive cycle, all those things we will be studying in this chapter. Okay, so if we consider or we can divide the reproduction in human beings into several events. Okay, so we will try to tell you about the events which take place during reproduction. Okay, sexual reproduction. So these events have different terminologies. Okay, I will try to explain those. Okay, the events of reproduction, events of sexual reproduction, reproductive events. Reproductive events. Okay, there are mainly 4 to 5 events which take place, or we can divide differently. Okay, those events are, first one is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. So means gametogenesis means gamete formation. Gamete formation. So in which male reproductive part, male human beings will produce sperms and female human beings will produce ovum. Okay, these are the process of formation of gametes is known as gametogenesis. Okay, in which male will produce sperms and female will produce ovum. Okay, so this is the event which the process of gamete formation is generally termed as gametogenesis. So next, after gametogenesis, what you have to do? What is the next event? Once the male and female reproductive parts or gametes are formed, then the necessary is to transfer the gametes or transfer the sperm into the female reproductive part. So that is known as insemination. The second event is insemination. Insemination means transfer of sperms into female genital tract. Female genital tract. Female genital tract. So that process is known as insemination. Okay, in which the sperms are transferred to the female reproductive part or female genital organ. So next next event is after insemination, first gametogenesis, next insemination, the third one is fertilization. Third one is fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. Okay, so fertilization means, here I will write fusion of gametes. fusion of male and female gametes. So after fusion, what we will call it is called as zygote. Okay. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gamete. So once the fusion is take place, male and female gametes are fused, then the cell which is called as zygote. This zygote will divide into multiple cells called blastocysts. Blastocysts. Zygote will divide repeatedly to form a mass of cells. Okay, 2 cell stage, 4 cell stage, 8 cell stage. So these stages are known as blastocysts. Okay, formation of blastocysts. The next event is implantation. So implantation means as the blastocyst is formed, it has to attach to the urinary wall or endometrium. Okay, it has to attach. It has to stay inside the female body. It has to stay inside the female body. No, so for that reason, it has to attach to the endometrium or urinary wall inside the female. Okay, that is known as implantation. Implantation means attachment of blastocyst here. Attachment of blastocyst to the urinary wall. Urinary or uterine wall. You can say uterine wall. Attachment of blastocysts. The same is here. Uterine attachment of blastocysts to the uterine wall. It is known as implantation. So once implantation is done, then the period. The fifth is gestation. So gestation means the period of development of embryo. Okay. So gestation means in which the blastocyst, as the blastocyst already during implantation, what happens? The blastocyst will go and attach to the uterine wall. Okay. There it has to stay for around 9 months. Okay. Generally pregnancy, if you take an example, or if you can understand the process of pregnancy. Okay. The female will carry the blastocyst for about 9 months. Okay. So during those 9 months, the blastocyst will develop. Okay. Blastocyst will develop into embryo will develop into a baby. Okay. So that period, that time duration, that period is known as gestation. Okay. Gestation, or the period of development of embryo is known as gestation. So next, the final is parturition. Or which means the delivery of the baby. So these are the events which take place in human reproduction. The first event is gametogenesis or gamete formation. The second is insemination, transfer of male gamete to the female genital part or female genital tract. So that is insemination. The third is fertilization. During fertilization, male gamete and female gamete fuses together to form a zygote, and zygote will divide rapidly to give rise to 2 cell stage, 4 cell stage, or 8 cell stage. So that stages are known as blastocyst. Okay. So next is implantation. Implantation means attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine wall. Okay, that is implantation. After implantation, what happens? There the blastocyst will remain for a long duration, around 9 months. Okay, so that period is known as gestation or the period of development of embryo. So that is known as gestation. After the gestation period completes, the baby will come out. So that process is known as parturition, means delivery of the baby. These are the 5 different events which take place in human reproduction. Okay, so then we'll try to understand the process of fertilization, or process of these reproduction one by one. First we will be studying the male reproductive part, then we will be studying the female reproductive part. After that, the process of fertilization. So those things we will be studying in the coming aspects. Okay. Now we will start with the male reproductive part. Okay. First we have to understand how the male reproductive part is what part the male reproductive part is there. Okay, first I will write the heading male reproductive part. Male reproductive system. Okay. I will try to draw the diagram of male reproductive system so that you can understand each and every part of the male reproductive system. Let us start the diagram. I will try to draw the diagram, then I will try to explain you one by one. Okay. Now I have drawn the diagram over here. I will try to explain one by one. Okay. First we will start with the male reproductive part. The male reproductive part is located in the pelvic region of the human body. It is located in the pelvic region of the human body. Okay, pelvic region means the region below the stomach and above the legs. Okay, or means frontal part of the throat. That region is called as pelvic region, where pelvic girdle is situated. Okay, so male reproductive part is located in the pelvic region of the human body. Okay, now this male reproductive system contains several parts. The parts of male reproductive system or male reproductive system contains, or simply write male system. Male reproductive system contains, or we'll write it like this: male, simply write as reproductive system. Male reproductive system contains several parts. The first part is testis. Then accessory ducts, then glands, accessory glands, I'll simply write glands, then the external genitalia. So male reproductive system, I simply wrote here RS, which means male reproductive system. Male reproductive system contains several parts, or generally 4 parts, mainly the testes, accessory ducts, glands, and external genitalia. I will just show you these parts in the diagram. Testis means 2 structures, or the 2 structures you can see over here. These 2 are testis. Okay, these 2 are situated. First I will show, then I will try to explain. These 2 structures are known as testis and accessory ducts, which means all these connections, pipe-like structure, which you can see. Here vas deferens is there, and vas efferens, rete testis, epididymis. These are all nothing but the accessory ducts. Okay, ducts means which carry substance or carry substance from one place to other place. Okay, pipe-like structures. These are all pipe-like structures. Vas deferens, epididymis, vas efferens, and retestis. These are the ducts. Then the glands. There are mainly three types of glands. One is prostate gland, which is over here. This portion. So this portion is prostate gland. One prostate gland will be there, and two seminal vesicles. 1, 2. So these two are a pair of seminal vesicles and a prostate gland, and a small circles. Here you can see the small circle. Those are bulbourethral glands. So these are the glands which are present in the male reproductive system. Then the external genitalia. So external genitalia, which is also called penis. So here this long portion is known as penis. So these are the main four parts of the male reproductive system. We will try to study one by one. I will write first. We will start with testis. Testes are the structures. These are the structures. Testis, a pair of testes. One is here and another is there. The pair of testes, a pair of testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity. Okay. So a pair of testes are situated just outside the body, outside the human body. So outside the abdomen, exactly where? Outside the abdominal cavity, in a pouch-like structure. In a pouch-like structure called pouch-like structure called scrotum. Okay, or simply a bag-like structure which is carrying the testes. Okay, is known as scrotum. Okay, this scrotum is outside the body, which means the outside the abdominal cavity. So why this is situated outside is because the scrotum, the temperature of scrotum is around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the scrotum is having the temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, and so this temperature is required for the testes to produce sperms. Okay, or the process of spermatogenesis favors this temperature. This favors spermatogenesis. Okay. So a pair of testes are situated outside the body in a pouch-like structure called as scrotum. Okay, bag-like structure which is carrying the testes is known as scrotum. So it is placed outside the human body. Why? Because the body temperature, general body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Normal body temperature of the human being is 37 degrees Celsius. But a scrotum, these testes are placed in the scrotum because here in the scrotum the temperature will be around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. So this temperature is very essential for testes to function properly. So it means the function of testis is to produce sperms. Okay, or through a process known as spermatogenesis. For spermatogenesis to take place, it is essential that there should be a temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. For that reason, only these testes are placed outside the body. Okay, then these testes are densely covered, means the structure is densely covered. The testis, the outer part of the testis is densely covered. Densely covered. And if you cut open the testis, say for example, is the testis which is densely covered, it is having a large wall around it. Okay, so if you cut open the testis, you will find around or I will write testis is having around about 250 compartments. Okay, these compartments are known as testicular lobules. Testicular lobules. Got it? If you cut open the testis, you will find around 250 different compartments. So each compartment is called as testicular lobule. Okay, if you cut upon the testis, there are around 250 compartments. Those compartments are known as testicular lobules. Again, if you cut those testicular lobule, each lobule, say for example around 250 compartment like this will be there. If you cut open only one compartment or simply one compartment, you will find around each, I will simply write here, each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled tubules. Further, in each lobule there are several around 1 to 3 tubules will be there. Those tubules are known as seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules will be there. Okay. So in a testis, if you cut open the testis, you will find about 250 testicular lobules. Again, if you cut a single testicular lobule, there again you will find 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Got it? So now, in the seminiferous tubules, inside the seminiferous tubules, there are two kinds of cells will be there. Okay, I'll simply show it here. Seminiferous tubules contain two kinds of cells. One is Sertoli cells, and the other is male germ cell or spermatogonia. Spermatogonia or male germ cell. Okay. Where exactly inside the seminiferous tubules, spermatogenesis or the functional sperms are produced inside the seminiferous tubules. Okay. So in each compartment, if you cut open the testis, you will find 250 testicular lobules. In each lobule, there are around 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. So inside the tubules, there are two kinds of cells that are produced. Those are, one is Sertoli cells and the other is spermatogonia or male germ cell. So this male germ cell will divide meiotically. Okay, spermatogonia, meiosis. I will simply write meiosis. Divide meiotically to give rise to functional sperms. Okay, the spermatogonia will divide meiotically to form a functional sperm which are haploid in nature or N. Simply write haploid region. Okay. So these Sertoli cells, they are again nutritive purpose. They send the nutrition to the developing or dividing spermatogonia, or they provide nutrition. Sertoli cells will provide nutrition. Just like in plant cell, in the last class we have studied about the female reproductive part, right? So their nucellus, the role of nucellus is to provide nutrition to the developing embryo. Here in case of male reproductive system, Sertoli cells will do the same function, which provide the nutrition to the developing gamete or the spermatogonia. Here the Sertoli cells will nourish the spermatogonial cells or germ cells, male germ cells. Okay. Then I am going to draw the structure of the Sertoli of seminiferous tubule. The structure of seminiferous tubule. So I will simply draw the structure over here. So this large cell in which so many seminiferous tubules will be there. Okay. So these each circle which I have circled is nothing but seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule. So inside the seminiferous tubule there are two kinds of cells. Okay. I will try to show two different kinds of cells. One I will draw with the black color. And other one with the blue color. All in all these seminiferous tubules, we will only write, or we will only draw, we will only show three structures. Okay, not all, only three structures, because only three seminiferous tubules will be there inside the each lobule. Okay. One is large, the other is light. This large one. And this. Okay. Now there are inside the seminiferous, the last three structures are called as seminiferous tubules. Inside these seminiferous tubules, there are two kinds of cells. One I am going to draw with the blue color, and the other one with the black color. Okay, so the blue ones are nothing but Sertoli cells. These are Sertoli cells, and the black ones are known as germ cell, male germ cell or spermatogonia. Okay, so these spermatogonia will divide meiotically to produce sperms. Meiosis to produce functional sperms. Okay, and the Sertoli cells, they provide nutrition. Okay, so now outside the seminiferous tubules, a space will be there. This space, empty space is there now. That space is called as interstitial space. I'll simply show it here like this. This space is known as interstitial space. Again, in the interstitial space also there are several kinds of cells. Several types of cells will be there here. Interstitial space. Okay. And I will do some more cells here. I will draw some more cells. Okay. So these cells which are present in the interstitial space are known as interstitial cells. They contain interstitial cells, and which are also known as interstitial cells are also known as Leydig cells. L-E-Y, Leydig. Leydig cells. Okay, and some other cells, or we will call it as immunocompetent cells. Simply immunocompetent cells, which are responsible for immune system of the body. Immunocompetent cells will be there. Okay. So in the interstitial cells or Leydig cells, they synthesize and secrete testicular hormone known as androgen. Okay. So if you take the structure, if you see the structure of seminiferous tubule, inside each seminiferous tubule, inside the seminiferous tubules, two types of cells will be there. One is Sertoli cells, which provide nutrition, and the other is male germ cell, that is spermatogonia. Okay. So outside the seminiferous tubule, a space is there. That space is known as interstitial space, and the cells which are float, or the cells which are present in the interstitial space are known as interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Some other cells will also be there. Those are immunocompetent cells. Okay, anyway, the interstitial cells or Leydig cells will produce or will synthesize and secrete a testicular hormone known as androgen or male sex hormone. Okay, androgen. It is produced by Leydig cells. Got it? So then this completes the testis. Now we will try to understand the next parts. First one is testis. The male reproductive consists of several parts, right? So first one is testis. Second one is ducts, accessory ducts. Then glands and external genitalia. This completes the testis. Now we are trying to understand the ducts, accessory ducts. The second part is accessory ducts. Okay. So the main accessory ducts which are present in the male reproductive part are, first one is retate testis, vas afferens, epididymis, and vas deferens. These are the main ducts or pipe-like structures present in the male reproductive part. You can see all these ducts over here. In the testis, just on the testis, there will be retate testis. Okay, retate testis, and through retate testis connects to the vas afferens, and vas epididymis. They are in chain-like structures. Okay, initially these retail testes start from seminiferous tubules. Okay, from the seminiferous tubules arises the retail testis. Retail testis will take the sperms to the through the vas efferents to the epididymis. From epididymis, vas deferens arises. It will carry the sperms to the urinary bladder. Okay. So in the urinary bladder, there one more vesicle will join, seminal vesicle. Those two, seminal vesicle as well as these vas deferens, these two open into the ejaculated duct, blue color structure, ejaculated duct or urethra. Okay, here they will open. We will try to understand one by one. Okay, so now we will start with the retail testis. Or I will try to show you the connections. I will write the explanation here. Seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules of testis open into the vas efferents through retail testis. Okay, which means seminiferous tubules will be inside the testis or testicular lobules. Okay, from that lobules, inside that lobules, the sperms, functional sperms will be produced. Those sperms are carried to the retail testis via, to the vas efferents to retail testis. So, which means seminiferous tubules immediately retail testis are attached, and through retail testis it has to come to vas efferents, right? Okay. So, which means I will simply show the flow chart over here. Seminiferous tubules to retail testis. Through retail testis, it has to reach vas efferents. Then through vas efferents, it has to go to epididymis. Then through this epididymis, it has to go to the vas deferens. Through the vas deferens, it has to reach the urinary bladder. Or simply write urinary bladder. Okay. So I will write over here urinary bladder. From urinary bladder, in the urinary bladder, what happens? Seminal vesicle will join. So in the urinary bladder to ejaculated duct, or simply show it here only. From urinary bladder to urethra or urethra. Okay, so this is the flow of these sperms. Okay, so it's from the testis where sperms are produced, they are transferred to the epididymis via retail testis and vas efferents. From epididymis, the functional sperms are carried to the urinary bladder through vas deferens, and from urinary bladder there one more vesicle or the seminal vesicle. The duct will come and join in the urinary bladder. They both are open into the urethra. From urethra to the external or glans penis, it will go outside. Okay, this is the flow of the sperms. Okay, now I will try to explain it here. The first 71st tubules of the testis open into the vas efferents to retain testis. Then from vas efferents, or I will simply write the vas efferents leave the testis and open into epididymis. Okay, then from the epididymis or write epididymis will lead to vas deferens. Lead to vas deferens that ascends and or that ascends to the abdomen and loops over urinary bladder. Okay, which means here seminiferous tubules of the testis open into vas efferents through retain testis. Seminiferous tubules will be inside the testis, so it will transfer the sperms to vas efferents through retain testis. Then these vas efferents leave the testis and open into epididymis. So epididymis will on the epididymis the sperms will come from the epididymis. Vas deferens arises. So through epididymis the sperms will travel via vas deferens. You can see the vas deferens. So it means it is ascending to the abdominal portion. Okay, inside the when it reaches the abdominal portion, it loops over or it coils or it simply coils over or loops over the urinary bladder. Okay, urinary bladder. Then we will try to write here. In the urinary bladder receives a duct from seminal vesicle also. Seminal vesicle and they both open, that is vas deferens will come and fuse with the duct of seminal vesicle. So here you can see the seminal vesicle. I have labeled it with a black marker. Okay, seminal vesicle, here one duct will come and will, say for example, vas deferens and the seminal vesicle, they fuse together and open into the urethra. Got it? Though they both both the openings of vas deferens and the duct from seminal vesicle, they both fuse and open into urethra. Got it? So urinary bladder receives a duct from seminal vesicle and opens into urethra urethra as ejaculatory duct, as ejaculatory duct. Got it? So this is the ejaculatory duct or penis. So inside the penis, ejaculatory duct will be there connecting to urethra. Got it? So then the function of these ducts, what is that? The duct from which is arising from the seminal vesicle as well as the vas deferens. These are the ducts. The function of these ducts is to I will simply write over here. The ducts carry, or I will simply write the ducts store and transport. The ducts store and transport the sperms. The ducts store and transport the sperms from the testis to the outside, through urethra. Got it? So where sperms are produced? Inside the testis. Inside the testis, sperms are produced. Those are carried all the way to the urethra through varieties of ducts. Okay? These ducts are nothing but, first one is from the straminiferous tubules, it will go to rete testis. Then from rete testis, it will go to vas efferens. From vas efferens, it will go to epididymis. From the epididymis, it will reach the vas. It will go to vas deferens. From the vas deferens, it makes a loop around the urinary bladder. There, it fuses with the seminal vesicle, the duct from the seminal vesicle, and both open into urethra, where ejaculation takes place. Got it? Then, from where this urethra opens, okay, or originates, okay, that we are going to understand. We will just write now. These are the ducts. The urethra arises from urinary bladder. Urethra arises from the urinary bladder and extends through the penis, extend through the penis, which is having an opening, an external opening called urethral meatus. Urethral meatus. Okay, this opening. So this opening will be called as urethral meatus. Okay, so you see here, urethra arises from the urinary bladder. From this urinary bladder, this urethra arises and it extends through the penis. Okay, it extends through the penis and it will be having an external opening which is called as urethral meatus. So this is urethra. Now we'll talk about the next part, that is the external genitalia. The next part is external genitalia. External genitalia. So which means the external genitalia in human beings is penis. Okay. So this external genitalia or penis is made up of a special type of tissue. The penis is made up of a special tissue, which helps during which helps in erection of penis during insemination, or facilitate insemination. Okay, so penis, so this structure, the penis is made up of a special type of tissue, which is generally the function of this penis is to it having special the penis is made up of special type of tissue which facilitates insemination by erection of penis. Erection means the standing straight. Say for example, standing straight. Okay, erection means the penis will stand straight. Okay, that is erection. So this erection is important during insemination. Okay, so the tissue of penis, they facilitate the insemination. Then the external ending or the enlarged end of the penis is known as the enlarged end of the penis is known as glans penis. Glans penis. So here this portion. So this portion, enlarged end of the penis, is known as glans penis. Then it has a covering. The glans penis is having a skin fold. Okay, or it will be covered with a skin that is known as foreskin. Glans penis is covered by loose skin called foreskin. Okay, just above the glans penis, it will be having a loose skin fold. So that skin is known as foreskin. Okay, then this is about the external genitalia. Okay, external genitalia in human beings is penis. It is made up of special type of tissue which facilitate insemination by making the penis erect, or it helps in erection of penis. Okay, which helps in insemination. Then the enlarged end of the penis is known as glans penis, which is having a covering or skin fold, which is known as foreskin. Okay, so this is about the external genitalia. Now coming to the last part, that is glans. Okay, the accessory glands or glans. Accessory glands. So as I said, there are mainly three kinds of glands. One is a pair of seminal vesicle and a prostate gland and a pair of bulbourethral gland. There are mainly three types of glands. First one is a pair of seminal vesicles and a prostate gland and third one, a pair of bulbourethral glands. Okay, so these glands secrete fluid, or I will simply write the secretions of these glands. The secretions of these glands constitute the seminal plasma. Okay, so these three glands, whatever they secrete, they secrete the liquid, okay, or fluid. So that fluid is known as seminal plasma. The seminal plasma contains fructose, calcium, and some enzymes. Okay, the seminal fluid is rich in fructose, calcium, and some enzymes. And here the bulbourethral gland, the secretions of the bulbourethral gland are lubricatory in nature. That means these secretions of bulbourethral glands, they help in lubrication of the penis. Okay, or right here, I will simply write here only a pair of bulbourethral gland. The secretions of bulbourethral glands help in lubrication of the penis. Okay, so these are the main parts of male reproductive part. Okay, male reproductive system. Okay, mainly male reproductive system contains a pair of testes and accessory ducts and glands and the external genitalia. Okay, so main region where sperms are produced is known as testis. Inside the testis, testicular lobules will be there. Inside the lobules, seminiferous tubules will be there. So inside the seminiferous tubules, the formation of sperm take place, because inside the seminiferous tubules you will find two kinds of cells. One is Sertoli cells, the other is germ cells or male germ cells, or nothing but spermatogonia. Spermatogonia, they divide meiotically, giving rise to sperms. So these sperms are carried by the duct system, that is nothing but from the seminiferous tubules, rete testis, the first duct. From the rete testis, vas efferens, the second duct. To vas efferens, it will reach the epididymis. Okay, from the epididymis, the vas deferens will carry the sperms to the urinary bladder. There, in the urinary bladder, seminal vesicle. From the seminal vesicle, one more duct will come. Though they both fuse and they both open into the urethra or ejaculatory duct. Okay, so this is about the male reproductive system. Again here, three kinds of glands will be there: a pair of seminal vesicles and a prostate gland, and the third pair or one more pair, which is known as bulbourethral gland. Okay, so these the liquid or the fluid which is secreted by these glands are known as seminal fluid. Okay, that seminal fluid contains, it is rich in fructose, calcium, and some enzymes. Okay, and the secretions of this bulbourethral gland mainly helps in lubrication of the penis. So this is about the male reproductive system. So in the next part, in the next class, we will be studying about the female reproductive system. Okay, thank you.